Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, so I told you I'll do a video where I'll break down Canelo Alvarez's keys to victory against Dmitry Bivol. So I did Dmitry Bivol, what he needs to do in order to win this fight. Now I'm going to say what I think Canelo Alvarez needs to do and keys to victory for Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is fighting somebody who's a very good mover. Canelo Alvarez is fighting somebody who's got a very good jab. Canelo Alvarez is fighting somebody with fast hands, fast feet. What does Canelo Alvarez have to do in this fight? Canelo Alvarez has to do what he normally does. Canelo Alvarez needs to hit Dmitry Bivol wherever he can land as hard as he can. Dmitry Bivol likes to move. Canelo Alvarez needs to go down to the body, destroy that body. A lot of people don't understand body work. They don't understand why going down to the body is very important. Let me explain. When you go down to the body, there's a saying, you pour water in the basement. Teddy Atlas uses this saying. What happens is you slow the individual down. The legs become heavier. Right? Your movement starts to slow down. As your movement starts to slow down, the stronger, bigger puncher starts to come to the front. Because the guy that is moving around, he's already exerting a lot of energy moving around. Now, if he's getting hit to the solar plexus, that's going to slow him down. His legs are going to become heavy. He's going to start to slow down. His movement is going to be less effective and he's going to become more of a static target. Becoming a static target against Canelo Alvarez is the start of doom. Is the start of your doom. Because you are not beating him if you become static. You have to be on your feet. You have to be elusive. And you have to be able to box. So Canelo Alvarez, the main thing is, for me, is Canelo Alvarez is going to have to hit him on the body. But not just hit him on the body, but hit him as hard as he can whenever he gets an opportunity. Whether he hits him on the arm, whether he hits him, wherever he can get an opportunity to hit him. He needs to hit him as hard as he can. But mainly, he needs to target that body, especially if Bivol is doing a good job in moving around and making it hard and uncomfortable. Because Bivol is going to put a jab in Canelo's face and use that to negate Canelo. Canelo has to find a way to negate the jab. How he can do that? He can make it a telephone booth brawl where he gets close to him and makes and gets right on the inside of Dmitry Bivol. Once he gets on the inside, the jab is not. Bivol is going to either have to grab hold, or he's going to have to fight him on the inside. And fighting Canelo Alvarez on the inside is a very dangerous thing to do. The guy is a very dangerous body puncher. So Bivol has to keep him on the outside, but Canelo needs to find a way on the inside. If Canelo tries to box with Bivol on the outside, Canelo will get outboxed, in my opinion. I don't think Canelo can't win this fight at range. Canelo will have to, in my opinion, become a pressure fighter at some stage in this fight. I don't think he can box with Bivol with the physical advantages and size that Bivol has got. I don't think he'll be able to do that. A lot of people say, well, look what he did to Callum Smith. Well, on Callum Smith, he was beating Callum Smith up. Callum Smith was on the ropes a lot of the time. And Canelo was just teeing off on him. Canelo was basically a pressure fighter in that fight. He was beating the crap out of Callum Smith. Bivol is a different gravy because Bivol moves much better than Callum Smith. He's a much better mover. So Bivol might not be there for Canelo as much as Smith was. Because Smith's not really a mover. Smith don't really box like that. He's a bit more flat-footed. Bivol is a lot more nimble of feet. So Canelo Alvarez, like I said, the main thing is to slow down somebody's feet, is to go to their body. So that's really a big part. In my opinion, that might even win Canelo the fight. He might even knock Bivol out with a body shot. Another thing that body punches do is this. Body punches get a fighter, especially if you're landing a lot of body punches. Body punches make a fighter worry about their body, so they're protecting their body. And while they're thinking about protecting their body, a right hand comes over the top, a la Amir Khan. You know, Canelo was landing a lot of body shots. He was struggling to land many headshots against Khan. Khan was doing a very good job in boxing and moving and avoiding a lot of headshots. You know, I don't think Canelo really caught Khan with many headshots at all. If he did, he probably would have knocked him out a lot earlier. But, you know, I can remember about a couple shots that Canelo landed on Khan's, you know, chin or face, so to speak. I remember a left hook that he landed. I remember he never landed a lot over the 6 rounds on his face. If you look at Khan's face after the fight, it looked like he didn't even look like he had been in a fight. He just got slept with one punch. If you look at Khan's face after the Garcia fight, he actually got caught with a lot of shots because Garcia in the 4th round caught him with a lot of you know, punches. Garcia himself was a mess because Khan in the first 3 rounds really messed up Garcia. But that's what I'm saying. So for me, Canelo Alvarez, in order to slow the Bivol down, he's going to have to go to the body. And while going at the body, there'll be opportunities up top that Canelo can take advantage of. But Canelo's going to have to get close to Bivol. He can't afford to keep fighting from distance because Bivol, he'll control it from distance. You know, Canelo won't be able to box with him at distance. Bivol's tall. He's got all the physical advantages. Don't bring up the Callum Smith example because Callum Smith was not fighting. He was not using he's not using movement and he was not really using his height. Canelo was fighting majority of that fight on the inside. Canelo's going to have to do that again. He's going to have to try to get on the inside. It's going to be a lot harder because this is a moving target. It's not a static target. It's a moving target. So Canelo, like I said, is going to have to slow that moving target down with body shots. The other thing is that Canelo hasn't got many weaknesses. But I have noticed a weakness. His defense is great. His defense is unbelievable. So that's another thing that Bivol's going to have difficulties with. Canelo's defense is going to have to be on point. He's going to have to make Bivol miss. And then he's going to have to land his own clean shots to make it clear to the judges that he's winning the fight. But here's another thing that Canelo likes to do. Canelo at times in fights, I feel, lets the fight flow. And at times in the fight, he's taking a rest. And while he's taking the rest, it looks like that he may be like... Some people sway against him in terms of him winning the round. So Canelo, for me, has to be more active. Because he can't afford to just let the fight flow, right? Because he was able to knock Billy Joe and Caleb Plant out. But let's not forget, those rounds, to some people... Now, I don't care whether you guys say, well, those guys don't like Canelo. It's irrelevant because... The fact of the matter is, I don't think Chris Mannix has anything against Canelo. I think Chris Mannix is actually a big fan. Some people say he's a big fanboy of Canelo. He had Canelo, I believe, down, I think, against Billy Joe. Some people had him losing against... You know, some people in the business, by the way, had the fight a draw. And now, you can say what you want. You can say what you want about, yeah, well, I had Canelo. I personally thought Canelo was ahead, but that's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that Canelo can't afford for people to think that he's losing the fight. And he especially can't afford the judges to think he's losing the fight. But the reason why this happens, I think, at times, it feels to me like Canelo... And this is look, you're picking slight holes in a great fighter, you know. But at times, sometimes he lets things flow and takes rests in between rounds where he's not doing a lot. He's not doing a lot, and the other guy's landing a couple of punches here and there, and sometimes he may steal the round. You know, because Canelo is not a very high output guy. He's more of a guy that lands his shots, but his shots are very accurate and they're telling. They're chipping away at you. It's like, imagine if you had an energy bar playing a video game. He's chipping away at that energy bar. Slowly but surely, he's chipping away at it. But he's got to make sure that in this fight, he does a lot more. His output he might have to be the fittest he's ever been in this fight. because Bivol might not be as easy for him to knock out or stop like it was with Plant or Billy Joe. This might be much harder. And Bivol, for me, is athletically more gifted than a lot of those guys as well. So Canelo's going to, for me, output's going to have to be very high in this fight. He can't just allow the fight to meander along, because Dmitry Bivol is the type of fighter that could take advantage of that. Could not just take advantage of that, but bank rounds as a result of that. So it's very important for Canelo Alvarez to not allow the fight just to flow, because if that happens, there's a chance that Dmitry Bivol might get into a rhythm. Once he gets into a rhythm, Canelo Alvarez might not be able to wrestle back the initiative, because he was... Even if the rounds were close with Caleb Plant and Saunders, just say, irrespective whether they were or whether they're not, there was people out there that thought that the fight was close, right? But he was able to change the course of that fight with one punch. Billy Joe Saunders, look, I had Canelo winning the fight, but it's irrelevant what I had. The fact is that there's a lot of people that didn't. I had the fight pretty close, but Canelo was able to change the complexion of that fight with one punch. Same with Caleb Plant. But some people up until that point had it even. But just say if you're not able to change the complex of this fight with one punch, you know. So I just feel like Canelo will need to start breaking Bivol down. He can't let Bivol get into a rhythm and start banking 2 or 3 rounds early. For me, Canelo's going to have to start from round 1, which he did against Saunders, by the way. He did put the pressure on him. That's why I found, look, Plant fight, I can't really recall, but I didn't think the fight was as close to what people made out. But Plant did do okay first couple of rounds and stuff. But with Billy Joe, Canelo started fast. I don't know whether that was because he was angry and wanted to punish him because of the stuff that Billy Joe was doing, or maybe that was a plan. But in this fight, he's going to have to do the same. He can't afford for Bivol to get into his rhythm. Bivol gets into a rhythm, right? It could be trouble. So the point I'm making is that for me, it's just the way Canelo approaches the fight that could be an issue. And just like I said, not letting the fight flow at times in fights. And like I said, the body work. For me, that'll win in the fight. That'll win. If for me, it also depends. Okay, it also depends how good Bivol is. And it also depends whether Bivol is a massive... Bivol and turns up to be a massive puncher. You know, Canelo might not be able to be as aggressive. You know, but if I'm going off what I've seen of Bivol so far, I believe that Canelo can adopt an aggressive approach to slow him down and beat him down. But I just think Canelo's got to jump on him from round 1 and not do what he did with Amir Khan. Let Amir Khan win the first round and get into his rhythm. Just start the way he did in the second round with Khan. Just jump on him. Jump on him, and not jump on him recklessly, but jump on him in an effective manner where he's putting pressure on him physically and mentally from round 1. You know, not let 2 or 3 rounds get by and let Bivol pick up the rounds, and you know, because then Canelo might be playing a chasing game, and you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to leave it to chance, because if the fight goes for a decision, yeah, he may get the decision, but people are going to say, well, our Bivol was robbed. So it's very important for Canelo to make this decisive and show the world that he is the best pound for pound fighter in the world. So yeah, let's wait and see how Canelo approaches this fight. Let's see how good Bivol is, because again, we're all talking about what Canelo might do, and although I've done one for Bivol, I've done what Bivol needs to do. The point I'm trying to make is this: Canelo can't afford this fight to meander along. He can't. He needs to jump on this guy and start breaking him down from round 1 and show him that he's the boss in that ring. Because these type of fighters like Dmitry Bivol, once they get in their rhythm, they're very hard to offset. They're very hard to get out of their rhythm unless you land a big punch that changes the complexion, which Canelo's capable of doing. But I just don't think in this fight he can allow that, because this guy's way better than Billy Joe, way better than Caleb Plant. Trust me when I say that. If Canelo allows this guy to get ahead in the fight, he might not be able to wrestle back the initiative with one punch. You know, so I think it's very important for Canelo to start fast and get on him right away. And like I said, the body work winning the fight. We might even stop him with a body shot. But that's my take on it. I'd love to know what you guys think Canelo needs to do. What do you think of the points that I made about Canelo? There's not a lot of points. There's not a lot of things that Canelo has to do, because Canelo, he's very good. Like when I'm analyzing Bivol, there's a lot more things I can say, because there's a lot more things that Bivol has to do in order to beat someone as great as Canelo. Canelo doesn't really have to do a lot different, really. But in this fight, I think he may have to Just up the intensity a little bit more. Because when I say Canelo's got to go to the body, Canelo's going to do that anyway. That's what Canelo does. But he's got to up the intensity. He's got to do that with a lot more intensity in this fight. I just feel, from what I've seen of Bivol, from what I've seen of Canelo lately, I think Canelo's intensity is going to have to be increased in this fight. That's what I feel. But leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to know your opinions. I'd love to know your breakdown. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.